Jealousy blinded the heart of this woman. She did something no one would ever imagine. She buried her husband alive because she suspected he was cheating. This powerful story will amaze you. Sit, grab your popcorn, and watch this amazing story. If you're joining this channel for the first time, please don't forget to like and drop your comment about this story. Subscribe and turn on your notifications to get our latest story updates. Oluchi, fair-skinned, sharp-tongued, and deeply tormented by one emotion, jealousy. Oluchi had once been known as the most beautiful bride of her compound. Slender like a river reed, with a voice like sweet Ojin music. She had danced into her husband's life with promises of joy. Her husband, Ade, a Yoruba man from Ibadan who relocated for business, was a humble, intelligent man. He adored Oluchi, gave her everything a woman could want: love, comfort, a home free of lack. But it was never enough. The village women whispered, "How can a man be this perfect? Something must be hiding," and Oluchi listened. She listened too well. At first, it was subtle, asking Ade what time he would return, requesting to know why he smiled while texting. But soon it grew darker. She would wait until he slept, then unlock his phone with his fingerprint, snooping, scrolling, screen-grabbing numbers she didn't recognize. One night, she shook him awake. "Who is Ngozi? Why is she calling you at 9:12 p.m.? Ngozi, that's the courier for my office deliveries." "Oluchi, must you always suspect me?" "Yes, because I know men, and my friends told me, once a man starts locking his phone, it means there's a side chick. But I never locked it." "Don't twist my words." Their marriage became a courtroom, and Ade was always on trial. Her friends, Kioma, Bucky, and Ngozika, never helped. "Men are dogs," Kioma said one afternoon, sipping Zobo beneath the mango tree. "Even if he buys you a car, he's still cheating. Just be sharp, my sister." "Exactly," Bucky added. "No man is faithful. Don't let his calm face fool you. He's just hiding it well. You think because he prays in church, he's holy," Ngozika laughed. "Even pastors cheat." Oluchi nodded, lips tight. Every word became another nail in the coffin of her peace. That night, Ade returned from work late. He looked tired, his shirt stained with sweat. He dropped a small gift bag on the table. "I saw these earrings, thought you'd like them," he said with a smile. But Oluchi didn't even touch the bag. Her eyes narrowed. "Where were you before you came back?" "Office, then I stopped by Emeka's shop to fix the car light." "Lies, you smell like perfume." "It's probably the car freshener." "Which woman are you sleeping with, Ade?" He stared at her, stunned. "This again?" "Yes," she screamed, "because I know the truth. You men think women are fools." Ade slumped into the couch, massaging his temples. "Oluchi, what happened to us?" She didn't answer. Instead, she picked up the gift bag and threw it in the bin. The next morning, Oluchi woke up before Ade. She boiled yam, made a thick egusi soup, but not out of love. Out of routine. Her eyes were bloodshot from a night of sleepless plotting. She couldn't rest until she found out the name of the woman. The one she believed had stolen Ade's heart. When Ade left for work, she followed him at a distance, using a friend's car, but he only went to his office. He spoke to men, picked a document, and returned home. Still, she wasn't convinced. "Cheating men are always careful," she muttered, "but the truth will show itself." That night, she sat in the darkness of their bedroom, staring at Ade's sleeping face. The man looked peaceful, too peaceful. That peace became her fuel. "He's at peace because he thinks I don't know." She opened his phone again. No evidence, just messages from clients, emails about a logistics deal, a scheduled meeting with someone named Tara L. Oluchi frowned, a woman's name. The next entry said, "Meeting with Tara, Thursday 2 p.m. home office." Her heart thundered. So he even brings them to my house. She didn't sleep again. The seed of jealousy had now become a tree, one whose branches would soon choke everything she loved. The sun hung high like a witness, its heat pressing against the zinc rooftops of Umuokoro. Inside Oluchi's compound, the air was still, almost too still, like the silence that comes just before lightning strikes. Oluchi stood by the curtain, her arms folded tightly. watching the front gate like a hunter. It was 1:47 p.m. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual. Every tick sounded like betrayal crawling closer. She wore her oldest wrapper, not because it was comfortable, but because she believed war required garments of contempt. Her eyes were tired but alert. Today she would finally catch her husband in the act. She had seen the name in his planner. Tara L. meeting at 2 p.m. home office. Who else but a lover schedules private meetings in a man's house during the hot afternoon? She didn't go to the market. She didn't sweep the compound. She just waited, silently, breathing through her rage. At exactly 1:59 p.m., a knock came at the gate. Her heart skipped. She didn't answer. Instead, she listened. Moments later, she heard Adele's voice. Calm, courteous, too courteous. "Welcome, Miss Tara. Please, let's use the sitting room. Would you like water or Zobo?" Zobo. Zobo was what he used to offer her during their courtship. Now he's giving it to his mistress. Through the slightly cracked door, Oluchi saw her. Tara, slim, elegant, wearing a fitted navy blazer and a pencil skirt. Her afro puffed neatly, her glasses sitting perfectly on the bridge of her nose. She carried a leather file and a calm, professional smile. But to Oluchi, she was a vulture circling her marriage. They laughed once, then again. Something in Oluchi snapped. She stormed in without warning, wrapper flaring behind her like a war banner. "So this is the whore." The room froze. Tara's mouth hung open. Adele stood instantly. "Oluchi, please calm down." "I will not calm down. You bring your prostitute into my house and tell me to calm down." Tara took a cautious step back. "Madam, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "Shut up," Oluchi screamed. "Do you think I don't know what you are, cheap Jezebel?" Adele moved toward her. "Oluchi, she's not who you think. She's a business partner. From Abuja, she's investing." Oluchi's hands trembled with fury. "Liar, you think I didn't see your stupid planner? You think I didn't see how you were smiling like a boy in love?" Adele tried to hold her, to restrain her from moving further, but she shoved him away. "I warned you, Adele. I warned you that if you ever brought a woman into my home, you would regret it." In one swift movement, Oluchi grabbed the glass bottle of schnapps they kept by the cabinet for visitors and slammed it on the floor. It shattered into jagged pieces. Tara screamed. Adele stepped back. "Oluchi, please, think about what you're doing." But Oluchi wasn't thinking. Her jealousy had reached its boiling point. With blind rage, she picked up one large, glinting shard and lunged forward. "Oluchi Chai, no." But it was too late. The glass tore through Adele's chest, just beneath his collarbone, deep. The sound of his pain was instant, a gasping cry that echoed off the walls. He stumbled backward, eyes wide, hands clutching the bleeding wound. Then he slumped. Blood spread across his white shirt like spilled wine on a wedding gown. Tara screamed again, frozen in horror. "Help," she cried. "Somebody help." But Oluchi stood there, the bloody glass still in her hand, shaking like a leaf in a storm. Adele wasn't moving. He wasn't talking. Only then did it hit her. "What have I done?" Tara ran out of the house, across the street, disappearing into the neighborhood. Whether to call for help or escape the madness, Oluchi didn't know. She sank to her knees beside her husband, touching his chest, searching for breath, for movement, anything. "Adele, please," her voice cracked. But there was no reply, just the silence. And blood, so much blood. Her hands flew to her head. "What have I done? What have I done?" The sun had begun to set. Oluchi sat on the cold floor beside Adele's motionless body, still stained with blood and disbelief. The broken bottle lay beside her, silent, accusing. Her wrapper was soaked in sweat and tears. Her heart pounded like a drum in a masquerade festival. She pressed her hand against Adele's chest again. It was warm, but only slightly. His eyes were closed. His lips were parted shallowly. "He's dead," she whispered, her voice hollow. "I've killed my husband." She rocked back and forth, pressing her palms to her ears, as if trying to shut out the screaming voice in her head. "You've killed him. You've killed the man who loved you." She crawled to the center rug, grabbed her phone, and dialed the only person she trusted with her madness. Marco, her childhood friend, her loyal confidant, the one person who always said, "Do what you must, Jaya, Don't let any man play you for a fool. The phone rang once, twice. Hello, came the groggy voice. Amaka, Oluchi whispered. I'm in trouble. I've done something terrible. What is it? Amaka asked, suddenly alert. I think I've killed Adair. There was silence, then a gasp. Where are you? At home, please come. 35 minutes later, Amaka arrived, hood over her head, her face pale as if she already sensed the gravity of what had happened. She stepped inside and stopped at the door, staring at Adair's lifeless body on the floor. Jesus, I didn't mean to, it just happened. He was laughing with that woman. And Oluchi broke into sobs. Amaka didn't speak immediately. She walked in slow, careful steps toward the body. She knelt, checked Adair's pulse with trembling fingers. She swallowed hard. He's not breathing properly, but there's still a faint pulse. Oluchi, he's alive. Oluchi looked up, eyes wide. Alive? Yes, barely. Then we can take him to the hospital. We can fix this. But Amaka shook her head. Look at him. Look at this blood. The neighbors must have heard the screaming. And if Tara, whoever she is, calls the police, you're done for. Oluchi's lips trembled. So what do I do? There was silence. Then Amaka said something that would change everything. We bury him. What? We bury him tonight, before anyone finds out. If he wakes up, let the gods decide. But if he dies, at least they won't find the body. You'll be safe. Amaka, do you want to go to prison? Do you want to rot behind bars while people spit on your name? This is your only chance. Oluchi covered her face with both hands. Her brain was spinning. The air smelled like panic and blood. Minutes passed. Then she nodded. Help me. Amaka rushed outside and came back with 2 old shovels from the garden shed. Oluchi fetched a wheelbarrow, the same one Adair used to move firewood during Harmattan. Together, under the cover of darkness, the 2 women dragged Adair's body across the backyard. They stumbled, grunted, sweated, and wept. Behind the compound was a patch of earth Adair had once prepared for roses. It was there that they chose to dig. Undig they did. 2 women, 1 secret. Oluchi's wrapper kept loosening. Amaka's palms bled from the wooden handle. Sweat soaked their bodies. Mosquitoes sang their own funeral dirge around them. By midnight, the shallow grave was ready. They rolled Adair into it. Oluchi dared not look at his face. As the first handful of soil touched his chest, she broke. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. I wanted to protect us. Don't talk to him, Amaka snapped. Just finish this. They packed the soil over him, covered the blood with sand, leveled it with their feet. Silence fell. The crickets returned. A dog barked in the distance. It was done, or so they thought. Unseen to both of them, Mama Nkechi, the elderly widow next door, had been sitting by her window, peeling melon seeds. Her eyes, though weary with age, had seen 2 shadows in the night, dragging something heavy. She had seen the shovels, she had heard the cries, and Mama Nkechi, as frail as she was, had already made up her mind. I must call the police, she muttered. This is no ordinary Wahala. The morning came quietly, too quietly, the kind of quiet that makes even birds hesitate to sing. It was as if the earth itself was holding its breath. Inside the compound, Oluchi sat on the edge of her bed, her arms wrapped around her knees, staring blankly at the wall. Her face was swollen from crying. She hadn't slept. Her wrapper clung to her like guilt. Her heart thudded in her chest with every passing second. She kept glancing at her phone, expecting it to ring. From who? She didn't know. Maybe Tara, maybe the police, maybe Adair from the grave. She flinched at the thought. Amaka had stayed the night, lying beside her, eyes wide open in the darkness. Now, as the early light filtered through the window, Amaka stood and quietly tied her scarf. I'm going home, she said. Act normal. You didn't see him. You don't know where he is. If anyone asks, say he traveled. Oluchi nodded, her lips dry. Do you think they'll find out? Amaka paused at the door. Not if we stay calm. But they were already too late. Just across the fence, Mama Nkechi, the watchful old woman, was already stirring a pot of bitterleaf soup. Her hands moved slowly, but her mind was alert. She had called the police. the moment the sun began to rise. I saw them burying something last night. She had said, it was a man, a body. I know what I saw. I'm old, not blind. And now, a police van rumbled down the dusty street, stopping with a screech in front of Adair and Olachi's compound. 4 uniformed officers jumped out, led by Inspector Hassan, a tall man with sharp eyes and a reputation for smelling lies like a hound smells blood. Knock politely, he told one officer. But before they could knock, the gate opened. The security man from next door had seen them and let them in. Who is the owner of this house? Inspector Hassan asked. Mr. Adair and Madame Olachi, the guard replied. But I don't know if they're in. They didn't wait. Inside the compound, the officers split up. 2 examined the yard. 1 began recording the scene on a body cam. And Inspector Hassan made his way to the back garden. That was when he saw it. The soil, recently disturbed, still soft, slightly uneven. He narrowed his eyes. Dig here. Within minutes, shovels were slamming into the earth. Red dust flew into the air. The sound was harsh, unforgiving. A neighbor peeked over the fence, then another. Within 10 minutes, a small crowd had gathered, silent, watching. And then, one of the officers shouted, Sir, I see fabric, a white shirt. Dig slower now, Hassan ordered, carefully. They dropped to their knees and cleared the soil with gloved hands. Then a gasp. A face, bloodied, swollen, but unmistakably alive. Adair's eyelids fluttered. Jesus, one officer cried. He's breathing, another shouted. They lifted him out gently, his clothes caked with dirt and blood. His pulse was faint, his skin cold. Call ambulance, fast. A young officer ran out of the gate, waving frantically as the ambulance, already on standby nearby, screeched into the compound. The paramedics rushed in with a stretcher. Olachi, sitting inside, heard the commotion. Sirens shouting, footsteps. Her body turned to ice. She rushed to the window. Then she saw it. Adair, alive, being lifted out of the earth like a man raised by spirits. She stumbled back, her mouth open. It's not possible. The door burst open. Police officers charged in. Madame Olachi, Inspector Hassan's voice boomed like thunder. Where is your husband? She stammered. He traveled to Lagos. Hassan's lips curled into a bitter smile. That's funny, because we just pulled him out of the ground behind your kitchen. Olachi froze. Her throat closed. No, that's not. You can save the lies, he said coldly. You're under arrest for attempted murder and concealment of a body. 2 officers grabbed her arms. She screamed, wait please, let me explain. I didn't mean to, I thought he was dead. You should have called an ambulance. Not a shovel, Hassan snapped. They dragged her out of the house, barefoot, tears running down her cheeks. As they reached the gate, the crowd parted. And then she saw him. Adair, strapped to a stretcher, a breathing mask on his face, his eyes half open. Her knees gave way. She collapsed to the ground. Adair, please. But he didn't speak. He didn't look at her. Only the paramedics responded, closing the ambulance doors as it sped off into the distance, carrying away the man she tried to bury, and the last chance she had at forgiveness. The prison van screeched to a halt in front of Ihiala Police Division, its tires kicking up a storm of dust and shame. Inside the van, Olachi sat with her hands cuffed, her face pale, her wrapper soaked with sweat. Her breathing was shallow, but her mind screamed like a marketplace on fire. All the lies had come undone. All the screams she ignored. All the signs she refused to see. Now they were crashing down around her like a house built on deceit. Her friend Amaka had been arrested too, picked up an hour after her, trying to sneak into her compound with a bag of clothes and a burner phone. She sat beside Olachi in the van, stone-faced, lips pressed shut. No more advice, no more defense, only silence. The door flung open. Out barked an officer. Olachi stepped down slowly, barefoot. Her ankles trembled. The ground beneath her feet felt like it belonged to another world, a world where dignity had packed its bags and left. Inside the station, Inspector Hassan waited with a file in his hands. He gestured to the bench. Sit. Olachi sat. The officer pulled out a sheet, a statement form, and placed it on the desk. You said your husband traveled. Hassan said, his tone cold. Where to again? Oluchi stared at the floor. Answer me. Lagos, she whispered. Lagos. He slammed the desk with his palm, making her flinch. You buried him behind your house. You thought he was dead, but he wasn't. He was breathing, struggling under that earth. And if we had come 1 hour later, he would have suffocated, you understand that? Tears spilled from her eyes. I didn't know, she said, choking. I thought I had killed him, I panicked, I was scared. So you called the police? No. You called the hospital? No. You called a friend and decided to bury your own husband, like a thief, like a goat. Oluchi covered her face. I didn't mean to, I didn't want to. But you did, Hassan snapped. And now you will answer for it. Just then, the door creaked open. The entire room went silent. It was as though the wind itself had paused in its blowing. Adair entered, bandages wrapped around his shoulder and arm. His step slow but steady. Behind him, a plainclothes officer gently supported him. His eyes met Oluchi's. She gasped and stood to her feet, shaking. Adair. He didn't respond. She rushed toward him, but a guard stopped her midway. Adair, please, forgive me, I wasn't thinking. I was blind, I was confused. Adair stared at her for a long time. Then he spoke, voice cracked but clear. Do you know what it feels like to be buried alive? Oluchi's mouth moved, but no words came. To feel soil cover your body. To shout and no one hears. To breathe and inhale dust. To think this is how I'll die, not from sickness or old age, but from the woman I married. Oluchi sank to her knees. I thought you were cheating. She cried, they told me all men cheat. I didn't want to lose you. Then you should have listened to me. Adair shouted, pain rising in his voice. I gave you everything, my heart, my home, my trust, and you paid me back with suspicion and blood. Silence. Then he turned to Inspector Hassan. I want to press full charges. Oluchi screamed, no, please don't do this, we can fix this. But Adair looked away. You buried us, Oluchi, he said softly. Not just me, you buried everything we were. 2 female officers stepped in, cuffed her again. Wait, Adair, I loved you. I only wanted to protect our home. Then you should have built it with truth, not paranoia. As they dragged her out, Oluchi wailed like a widow. Neighbors had gathered outside the station. Some watched in silence, others whispered. There she is, the woman who tried to kill her husband. I heard she stabbed him with bottle. She even buried him, a whole human being like cassava root. She looked around, searching for one friendly face. There was none, not even Amaka, who now sat in a separate patrol van, her eyes filled with regret. As the police van pulled away, Oluchi pressed her head against the bars of the window and whispered the words that would haunt her for years. I should have trusted him, I should have listened. But by then,